Okay, guys, thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about some of the technology stuff. We get a lot of agents asking questions. Some of them range from very basic to a little bit more in depth. We're going to go over a few things first that I think are some of the common ones that we get asked, and then we can just open it up for you guys if you have any tech type questions. So, Jake is our tech guru. If you have ever uh, played with Jake, sometimes we, like Monica has before, where we get together for our live trainings and we're just frustrated. I've done this where I spend hours and guys, I did computer programming. I thought I would be a computer programmer back in the day. And I'll spend hours and hours on this program. And one of my favorite stories is when Monica, we were down at Alan Blood's office, and Monica comes in so frustrated and she's sharing the story about how frustrated it is. And meanwhile, Jake's on her laptop, she's saying everything that she's tried and she spent days trying to work through this problem. And by the time she's done complaining about the problem, Jake spins the computer around and says, "Is this what you're trying to do?" And the only words that come to mind, and I'm sorry this is recorded here, but I got to say it, the only words that come to mind is "son of a bitch." How do I work so hard for so long? And he literally solves it before I can even tell the whole story. That's who we've got as our guru today. Jake, thank you for joining us. I hope that was a good introduction. You're muted. This is
Yeah,
where you
sorry.
take over.
I
All
couldn't
right.
find which window my Zoom was in. Yeah, I'm still cringing from that story because I feel like that reflects on me. And I also feel like you've oversold my abilities here, but I'm happy to attempt it.
Okay, so first of all, I made it so that you can share your screen. Um, One of the first questions I get is agents like the basic stuff. How do I get access to my website? How do I get it up and working? What are my options here?
Let me share.
Now, while you're doing that, I have had agents come to me where they're so excited. They call me up like, "Hey, could you check out my website? I finally got it finished. I spent $5,000 with this company and they built the website for me." And I'll check it out and I'm like, "Hey, it looks great. Did you realize that we provide you with a website?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, you can check it out right here." And honestly, you compared the two websites side by side, and the Pro Agent website was better. And so I can't make fun of that agent because I've gone out and paid $5,000 for an SEO company, search engine optimization, to go over my personal website and try to make it so it's easier for people to find. And then I started talking with the website people over at Pro Agent Websites. And he's like, "Yeah, we do all of that. It's all built into the software already." I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?" He's like, "No." And then I had another broker down in Utah County say, "Yeah, get on and run a search anywhere in Utah County, and you'll find." Oops, sorry, I need to. And you will find my site. And sure enough, I get on and do a search, and he pops up number one. And he's just using the Pro Agent website. So it is a really good website. It's one of the best websites with the SEO functionality built into it. Jake, tell us where we can find it.
Yep. So two places. You've got your website, this toggle button right here. If you click that, you can copy your URL up here. So you just click that, it copies into your clipboard, and you can just paste it. That takes you to your website. Or you can click go to admin page right here, and that opens up the CRM side. So you can edit everything within here. You can use the CRM features, add contacts, whatever. And then up here in the green, you've got your site editor. So you can come in, customize all your personal info that people see when they go to your site, um, add a profile picture, everything else. That's AI generated if you can't tell.
Oh, handsome.
Um, thank you. AI does whatever I tell it to. I say, make me look way better, and that's what it gives me. Um, Anyways, so that's the quick and easy way to do Pro Agent. You can do the same thing over here. It's just the exact same button, Pro Agent or your website. And then KV Core, if you don't have a KV Core account set up and you want one, just text me. I have to go in and manually set it up. We don't have a ton of people that use it. Eric, what'd you say, like two or 300 across the whole company?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we made the offering like 4,000 people and just a few hundred use it.
Yep.
And honestly, we're not pushing people in that direction right now. The people that use it tend to really like it, but it is a very complicated software. And so that doesn't appeal to most agents unless they are, first of all, not technologically challenged. I'm speaking challenged. Um, but for people that are technologically challenged, KV Core is hard. It's too big of a software if you want to show them what it's got.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, here we go. So yeah, CRM, you've got your contacts here. Ooh, and mine looks a little more messy because I've got an admin account. But if I just go into my personal contacts, um, yeah, you can see there's a lot of bells and whistles. I've got all my contacts in here, um, the status, the type of client, the last contact, all the different tags. You can email, so I can bulk select a bunch, send emails, texts, video message. That's new. That might be like a bomb type feature. You can do these bulk tasks, add hashtags, transfer to another user, whatever. So it's a lot in here. And then it automatically, so if you come into your settings in KV Core, you can add like your MLS ID and everything else. And then it will automatically pull up your own listings and feature those on your website. Pro Agent does the same thing by default, so there's less setup with Pro Agent, but you can be a little more hands-on with KV Core, just as far as the customization they allow. So you can pull up your website settings in here. You can see this is my KV Core website. So this is Pro Agent. We'll just go side by side. And then this is the KV Core one. Um, so honestly, very similar. There's no clear advantage to one over the other. Um, KV Core just lets you customize a lot more. So you can choose different themes. You can edit the content, do a blog, manage all sorts of stuff in here. And then the other thing, I think the main reason a lot of our agents who use KV Core stick with it is they've got a bunch of add-on marketing features. So you can pay additional fees monthly, and they do all sorts of advertising and inbound marketing where they basically just insert leads into your CRM. There's one, let's see. Um, Options here. Okay. So Leads 360 is one of their big services where they do all the advertising for you. And then as leads come in, they call them and qualify them over the phone and then add them to your database and just add notes as they go with the follow-up. So their guarantee with this is that any leads they generate, they'll be following up with for like 12 months. And then as soon as someone indicates they're ready to buy or sell, then they shoot you a text, or sometimes they'll do like a live call handoff, like what Zillow does, and they'll just say, "Hey, these guys are ready to talk to you. Do you have a minute to jump on with them?" So that's kind of the main draw of KV Core, in my opinion, is they've got all of these built-in um, marketing features that you can pay an additional fee, and they generate leads for you. Did
Cool.
you have anything else you wanted with that, Eric?
Well, before we move on to other things, let's open it up to you guys. Do you have questions on your website, how to use these things, any of the features that you'd like to bring up right now?
I have a question that
Yeah.
relates to the scenario I think you painted at the beginning. So let's pretend that we have something like a Google business page. Um, Somehow that was where my issue was, I think, was we were trying to get um my customer reviews, which get added through Google, to be able to show up with the KV Core website that I had spent forever designing. Um, is there something we need to know when we get clients who want to give us reviews? Like, where can they go to put those on where they will show up on the World Wide Web? Like, is it better to have them go through KV Core, or is it better to have them put them through Google?
I would still always say Google. Um, you just got way more visibility with Google, and um, with Pro Agent, you can custom add the testimonials. So you literally just copy and paste it in here. So if you're on your site editor up here, client testimonials, you click that, and then you just create it. So then you can just copy and paste it from Google. So you can say Bob said super good realtor, whatever. But then it shows up on your Pro Agent site. So I don't even think there is a way on KV Core or Pro Agent for clients to come in and leave a review. So always I would say either your Google Business or your Facebook business page are the best two places for people to leave a review. Because Google and Facebook are the two tech giants of SEO. They'll always come up in the search results if people are searching either for your name or realtor in your area. So send reviews there and then just copy and paste them into a site like this.
There is
how
a
I
way
would do
to
it.
copy and paste them also into the KV Core one, right? From Google, copy and paste them from Google and then put them in there, right?
Um, Probably. Ah, no, yes, there is, because I remember we did this testimonials right here. Um, Trying to see where we do it. Yes, there is the testimonials section, but you might need to customize it directly on the website. So maybe this
So
one doesn't.
gratifying to know that you're having a little bit of a hard time right now.
I always do. That's why I don't like doing these live, because if you
So
text me a
human.
question, I can figure it out in like 3 minutes and seem like I'm really smart. But if you ask me live, then you see me struggling for those 3 minutes before I have the smart answer. Um, so yeah, KV Core, I don't think you can actually copy and paste your testimonials in. It looks like it pulls them from Zillow.
Okay.
Um,
Site
yeah.
contact. Did we do it as an embed or a widget? Something maybe. I think. I can't
Oh,
remember for
yeah,
sure,
we
but
we may have just added custom content and then just put in screenshots, and you can do that as well. Screenshots or custom text. Yeah.
okay. So Google's the way to
Oh,
go for clients
no,
to
we
add.
just figured that out.
We'll
As soon
just
as I say it's impossible, I find exactly how to do it. So yeah, just click site content, testimonials, and add a testimonial here, and you can copy and paste it in same way.
lovely. Okay, I'll go back and rewatch this because I won't remember.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, we've had a question typed in.
Oh, thank you.
How
What
does
is it?
KV Core compare to Buffini's CRM? I like that Buffini sends me monthly mailing items of value. Can those be purchased through KV Core? Do you know a price if they do? I don't believe KV Core does Buffini's got his pop buys that he's kind of famous for. I don't know that KV Core or Bold Trail now has something like that feature.
Nope, they don't have any physical marketing they do at all.
So, Terry, to answer your question just a little bit more, how does KV Core compare to Buffini CRM? Jake, I'm going to take over the sharing of the screen if I may.
Yep.
Just go to so if we go to Buffini, Jake has just shared with you some of the other stuff. Let me see if I can log in. See if any of this still works. Okay. So his is called Referral Maker. Sorry, I need to adjust the settings on the screen here so that I can still see you guys while I chat. There we go. Okay, so Referral Maker. Some of the things that I love about Referral Maker is it does help you better than most softwares. It helps you zero in on the important things, which are relationships. And that's really what Buffini is all about, is relationships. The statistic that they constantly use is one that I've been following for almost my entire career. And it started out at 75. It's interestingly gone up over time, that about 85% of people would rather work with somebody they already know and trust. Okay. And this has been a study that has been done by NAR at the National Association of Realtors every year forever. How many people would rather work with somebody that they already know and trust? And then how many agents are good at staying in contact with people, which is actually kind of abysmally low. For knowing that 85% of people would rather work with somebody they know and trust, yet we're investing so much money of our marketing into park benches or billboards or whatever to reach out to people that we don't know and trust. So one of Buffini's things is, hey, the people that know and trust you, as long as you're staying in contact with them and nurturing that relationship, they want to call you rather than a stranger on a billboard who they don't know, right? The challenge then for us is maintaining that contact. One of the things that Buffini doesn't do great is when a brand new agent joins and they know like 50 people, well, maintaining that contact, I'm done with that in 3 days, right? Now, who do I talk to? That's the number one concern of newer agents is, okay, who do I talk to now? Because the 50 people that I know, I can't keep hitting them up every 3 days. Like, you have to find a way to get to know more people. And that's just where some hard work comes in. But once you've got a database built up of people, Referral Maker does a great job. It comes in here and says, okay, here's the people that you haven't talked to for a long time. Here's, if we go over here to relationships, I haven't used this software for a long time, right? But it's got people right away that are my priority action center. I really like that aspect of it, that it comes in and tells me who is important, who I should be focusing on, who is somebody that maybe, and Corey Brady was an A client. He'd done multiple transactions with me. Now I think he works for a builder. I think he's a real estate agent working for a builder. Anyways, he was rated A, and Buffini has you rank your people. So from A through I don't know what it is. I do A through D, and then I have a small group of Fs, which are people I never want to talk to again. So anyways, to go back to your original question, Terry, how do they compare? They're very different softwares. If you look at the dashboards between the two, kvCORE is very complicated. It has a whole bunch of features, things that you can add on. This is a very simple software that is good at helping you focus on your relationships. And so if the angle that the people that dive into Buffini's program, that do his training every year, that are constantly working on doing the pop buys and stuff, they love that software because it's better than almost everything else at helping you focus on relationships. Okay, so it's very good for that. kvCORE has a lot more features about outside marketing, ways of pulling people into that. If you looked at Jake's, a lot of those people were just people that had clicked on a website or something, and then they get pulled in. kvCORE has some AI that automatically interacts with them. So there's a lot of features there for working with strangers that maybe you wouldn't see in something like Buffini software. So does that answer your question, Terry? If not, she just said thank you. So hopefully that was good. Any other questions that you guys have on any of this stuff? Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. If you do have questions that pop in your mind, come back. We can come back and address them later. All right. Now I want to take you to something that is one of my favorite things. And I don't know how busy you guys are. I think most of the time, whenever I talk to you guys, you're busy sitting on a beach. Maybe you've got I'm going to say Mai Tai, but is that a drink or is that a style of fighting? It's been too long since I've been on a beach. If I don't know the difference between Mai Tai is fighting, right?
No, Mai Tai's a drink, and if you drink too many, you might get in a fight.
I'm glad I'm recording this. I need to hit a beach badly. Okay. Mai Tai's a drink. What is the fighting style?
Muay Thai or something.
Taekwondo.
Okay. Well, I know there's Taekwondo. I thought, anyways, I'm having a brain fart, but it's the one where you're in there using your elbows and your knees that I'm. What is Muay Thai? Totally off the topic. That is my ADD showcasing itself. Anyways, one of my favorite things for busy people is having a calendar that's a little bit smarter than a Google Calendar. And so here's where this comes in handy, right? And you can use this for everything. It doesn't just have to be business. You can use it with personal. I know a lot of people are involved in their community. I was talking with Don earlier. He's always doing good things in his community. Rachel right now is busy making 4 million breakfast burritos for kids in the community. We're all very active and involved, right? And so I don't know how many times you find yourself with going back and forth with somebody saying, hey, let's get together. And when is a good time? And I don't know what works for you. And text me back your schedule. And we've got this and we've got that. And maybe we can do it. Maybe we can't. And a lot of times what that ends up with is, hey, let's get together sometime. Right? We should do this. And then it's left at that. And we never do anything. I've got friends that we've used that. We should get together soon for years. And I end up seeing them once every 3 years. And they're some of my best friends. And when it comes to clients, hey, when are you available? And we're going back and forth and we only see each other once every 3 years. That doesn't really work, right? When we're trying to set an appointment with somebody. Anyways, so I'm going to share my screen with you and share one of my favorite calendars. So this is a calendar called Motion. It's app.usemotion.com, or you could probably just type in Motion in a search bar. One of the favorite things that I like about this is, first of all, you can link. Let me minimize this a little bit so I can see the different features. So you can link different calendars to it. So I've got all of my different calendars over here from Google Calendars, right? All my calendars are over here linked to it. So it has all the functionality that Google has. But one of the things that I like a lot about this is I've got booking links. Okay. And sorry, and I just had a thought that I need to write down. So one of the things with these booking links is I can come in here and I've got my link set up for agent interviews. And when I copy that link, then I can paste it with somebody. So for example, I copy this and I send an email to Jake saying, let's meet. And then I can say, check out my calendar and schedule a time that works for you. Right? I send Jake that link and he clicks that link. And Jake, when you get that email, let me know. Okay. But he clicks that link and what it does, and you'll be able to see it here when he tells me, because I'll have him share his screen with you, is he gets this and it pops up. And when I set up the link, I have some things that I can do to edit it. I can embed it in my website if I want to. So if people are on my website and they want to, hey, for a one-on-one, and we can set it up with a Zoom call or whatever. So we can build this however we want to, but if you'd like a one-on-one consultation on your house, let me know. And you could embed this right into your website, or you could, from your phone, you could text it to somebody and say, here's my calendar. Check this out, click on that link, find a time that works for you. And you get to, in your booking settings, you get to say, okay, I want at least 15 minutes, or I want at least a half hour in between appointments in case things go over or there's driving time or whatever. Anyways, there's a whole little tutorial on it. Jake, do you have that email?
Yes, I do.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Why don't you share? Show us
Okay.
what comes over to you.
Are you seeing my email?
Yep.
Cool. So when I click the link, I've got your full calendar for exactly 2 weeks out. And can see you're not available next Tuesday. I'm guessing that's our training meetings that are booked off.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, everything else. The other cool thing is it tries to chunk it with your other events. So it will always show the preferred slots. You can see he's got something from probably 11 to 1:15, give or take. Maybe 11 to 1. And so it tries to prioritize right before or right after that so we can keep all of the events right together. And if I click one, I just fill out my info and schedule it. And then it pops up on Eric's calendar and sends both Eric and me a Zoom link.
Now, when I set this up, I get to do a couple of things. So, in order to be best prepared for our meeting, is there anything specific you'd like to know or that you have questions about? That's something that I prepped in there. Okay. Also, this is my link for meeting with new agents, prospective agents that want to join us. So I added this question. If you're currently licensed, which brokerage are you with? And so they put in their name and email. They've picked out the time. I know that that works for me. And when this happens, Jake, I'm going to take over sharing the screen. Okay. So when this happens, I'm going to go back to last week. Okay. So I automatically, here's somebody that I met with last week. So I had 2 scheduled. And when I click this, it automatically set it up so it sends me a notification. I get an email that somebody has scheduled a meeting with me. It automatically sets up the Zoom call. They put in their email with it, and it schedules the Zoom meeting and sends them reminders. I can set all of that stuff up. So not only am I setting the meeting, which keeps the calendar back and forth going, but it automatically sets up the Zoom call. It automatically sends the link. It automatically sends a reminder an hour before the meeting starts saying, hey, I'm looking forward to meeting with you. All of the things that we try to train agents to do to cut down on people canceling their appointments with you, the software does automatically for you. So it's one of my favorite softwares. It's something that I wanted to share with you guys. Maybe you can check it out a little bit. Do you have any questions on that before we go on to our next fun item? Jake, we're going to go to dotloop next. Okay, let's go over to dotloop then. Dotloop, as you know, is a software that we provide for you, a premium account for all of our agents for free. Jake, can you share the email tagline that you were able to do?
Sorry, what did you want me to share?
You know how you're working on the emails that, like when somebody
Oh,
sends something through
yeah,
dotloop?
yeah. Um, so let me actually show you what that looks like now.
So we recently discovered this. And as you know, when you're working with, hopefully, when you're working with us, that we have profit share program. And our philosophy is very simple. We do not believe in taking 30 or 40% of your commission in order to pay out like a downline, like a network marketing business. We feel very strongly that the agent that earns the money should keep the money. It is a system that lasts and endures. There are other companies that build out these big downlines, and as fast as they fill out, they unzip just as quickly, because eventually somebody at the bottom of that is paying a 40% split with nobody in their downline. They're thinking, okay, I'm not making any money off this downline. Why am I paying a 40% split? So they quit. The person above them, all of a sudden, not making anything. So they quit and they leave to companies like us, where they get to keep the lion's share of their own money. And this is what we believe is right. However, we do reward our agents for referrals. And so out of the amount that we take per transaction, $100 goes to the agent that was set up the appointment. This is a chance for us to help you build your profit share. It costs you nothing. Jake was able to build this up. So when you send something out with dotloop, it can automatically have this in there. And of course, we're interacting with other agents, right? We're sending offers, counter offers, all of this stuff. So Jake, why don't you go from there and explain it?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. So let me show you what it actually looks like. And this is how I even found out this existed. Bum, bum. Not that one. Man, I can't even remember her name now. Let me go to .loop support. Okay, so this is what it looks like when any other agent receives documents from you. So this was an agent in Steve Stringham's office that I was doing a deal with, and just as she shares documents with me via .loop, there's this little banner at the bottom that says we're hiring, join the team, and it just goes to some generic equity site. So I added that to our office, but instead of just an equity website, it goes to Eric's booking calendar that we just walked you through. So as you're interacting with agents via .loop, sharing paperwork back and forth, it's just a little tag that shows up at the bottom of your .loop outgoing emails. And then if they click that, they can book a call with Eric and hopefully start snowballing the profit share a little more.
Yeah, thanks, Jake, for first of all noticing that and then getting in with .loop and learning how to build it out. So this is something that it's automatic for everyone.
Yep, automatically in all 4 of the offices you manage.
So it's an automatic little feature that is going back and forth every time we're relating with somebody with .loop. And so, and it takes nothing from you, and it has the ability to generate profit share. So we've paid out over $13 million in profit share. That's a big deal when it's $100 a pop, right? That's a lot of agents referring and closing business. And we just wanted to help you build that out as well. Okay, one of my favorite things to watch Jake do is I've told you how fast he is, but one of the things that's cool is you stand over his shoulder and you watch him doing something. And Jake, I'm going to go into some of the shortcuts with .loop if you want to prep for that. So I stand over his shoulder and he's filling out paperwork. I know what he's doing. Maybe I've even instructed him to do it, and I can barely follow how fast he does things. So a lot of times when we are filling out paperwork on .loop, it's maybe a cumbersome process, and we've got to edit and add a field and all of these different things. There are some simple things that we can do to really streamline this process. So I'll let Jake pull this up and show us what he's doing.
I thought you were going to be talking longer. That's my bad.
Oh, nope, not talking longer. First, while you're doing this, Jake, let me actually get feedback. What do you guys think about that .loop thing at the bottom? You getting thumbs up? Sorry, Monica, you're muted.
It's cool. I want to do it. I just need to rewatch it, I guess, and figure out how to make sure it links.
You don't need to do anything. It'll just be there.
Yep.
Oh,
okay. Automatic. It's done for you.
Hey, love it. Thank you.
Yeah, super cool, huh?
So it automatically attaches to just the agent, or does it go to everybody, like our clients, the title company?
So when you send something with .loop, it just has that banner at the bottom.
So it goes to everybody you send stuff.
Yeah, it's just a banner at the bottom, like a signature line, and it just says, "Hey, we're hiring," and or whatever Jake showed there.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Jake.
Okay. So this, I know we do have a Repsy template in .loop, but I know a lot of us fill it out on the MLS first because you can plug in an MLS number and have it auto-populate most of it, and then bring it over to .loop. So anything, let me open another window quick. So any of these templates, if you go to the UAR interactive forms, all of these are like pre-prepared for .loop. So if you grab like a blank addendum here, you can see it's already got all the fields ready to be typed in. So you can just check the boxes add a date, do whatever as you go. You don't have to prepare it. But if you import just a blank PDF, which we end up doing a lot of the time, it helps to be able to speed through it a little quicker. So up here you can add, the text, initial, signature, whatever you need to. The first letter of each of these is the hotkey, if that makes sense. So like option S would be signature, option I is initials, option T is text. So really,
Really quick, let me interject. Option is when you're using a Mac,
oh, thank you. Sorry.
right? So if you're on an Apple product, then you're doing option I. So rather than going up to the top and clicking add text, add initials, add signature, and then dragging it down everywhere you want it to go, you can just click on the screen where you want it to be, click where the top left corner of the box would be, and then click option I for adding an initial. If you're on a PC, then it's your command or your alt key. So alt I or command I or command S or whatever. And again, you just click where you want that initial to go. And that alone cuts down on your movement, going up to add and going down to where you're putting it. It's so much quicker. All right, Jake, what else do we got?
I have a
Thanks.
quick question on that. How do you toggle back, like if it's a husband-wife scenario? Like, do you just still go back up to the top and tell which
So
one is supposed to initial where?
yeah, so what you can do is once you've assigned it, so like this is a husband and wife. So I'll assign it to both of them and then you can copy it. So for me, that's Shift Command C. On Windows, it would be Shift Control C.
Yeah, hold on a second. See over in the bottom right of the screen how you see that copy
Oh,
field?
yeah, you're right.
There's some of your shortcuts right there.
So yeah, after you've assigned it, you can copy it, and then we just go through and paste the pre-assigned fields on each box. So then we've got all 6 pages of initials done in 10 seconds. And that saves a ton of time.
This is really handy if you've got a trust with 4 different people that need to sign or something like that. It saves a ton of time. Even if it's just 2 people, it saves a lot of time, but especially where it's one of those complicated ones where there's more, it's really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, especially if there's a bunch of people and you need to, resize them all to make it fit, then you only have to do that one time. Get everybody in there, and then you can just copy that and slam it wherever else it needs to go in the document. So that's probably the biggest shortcut is just knowing how to copy and paste fields. Because then you can do the same thing for text fields. So like if, each of these needs a text field and they're all the exact same size, you can just size it once and then copy and paste it through each field. Or, grab a couple at a time. Oops. Grab 2 of these, copy it, and paste it down.
That's
Um,
amazing.
So yeah, that's probably the main thing I found that saves a ton of time using dotloop. Do you have anything else you want me to touch on shortcuts for that?
That's one of my favorite shortcuts. Do you guys have any questions? I've had several people say they didn't know they could resize the initial and signature boxes. Didn't know we could copy and paste, multiples like that.
It was worth the cost of admission for this thing. That was cool.
Thanks. One of the other things, just because this is being recorded and a lot of new agents don't realize you can do this, just the email to PDF is super, super helpful if you're not using it. So for example, let me rearrange my screens. So if, like in this case, if another agent shares their documents with me via dotloop and they've got all the PDF attachments down at the bottom, I don't think any of these have PDFs. This one does. Okay, so I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm not going to open this because it probably has info. But if somebody has an email that's got copy this long gibberish email address, paste it in there, and then when I send that, give it like 30 seconds, and it pulls every single PDF from that email into your .loop. So if they've attached images and other crap, it will not get pulled in, but anything that's in the PDF format automatically gets thrown into your loop just right at the top. And then you can drag to rearrange it and do whatever else you need to do. Refresh that. Okay, so there's that W9 PDF that just came in. I'll archive that because I don't actually need it. And then last thing that may or may not be helpful is, open this again. Okay, two things actually. So one, in here, we've got the pre-made equity templates, right? So the main ones you probably use are the buying forms, listing under contract, and then these UAR forms at the bottom. But you can also do custom templates for your own account. So you can see,
Show where you went to go there.
thanks. So up at the top, and hopefully your account looks the same, it should have this templates button. So you can click on that, and then it's got all of the equity templates over here. So you should be able to create a new folder. Let's say Jake test buyer loop. And then that shows up as a new template. If you have, the exact same forms you use every time or something you do a little different, that's not always going to be in the equity templates. You can throw it all into your own template.
Now, Jake, let me interject here really quickly. So you can
Yes.
build out your own templates like this, and some brokers have built out templates for their office. I have not done so because I think once you learn to use .loop, then, like every transaction is so different. I end up, when I build out a template, I try to make it as complete as possible, and then I have to archive half of it. And so to me, it's, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But one of the things that you have to be aware of if you're building a template. So for example, let's say that I've got a buyer's template. And so I've got my exclusive buyer broker agreement, and I've got, maybe my buyer due diligence checklist, and I've got my wire fraud disclosure form. And I've built that all out so that when I start a new buyer packet, I've got all of this stuff, all of these forms automatically pull in there, my buyer checklist, all of that stuff. Here's the question for you. What happens when the Division of Real Estate or the UAR updates that form? Does it automatically update in your self-created template? The answer is no. And so the UAR forms folder down at the bottom, we do have an agreement with them that they that they update those forms. However, sometimes it takes a couple of weeks. And so one of the reasons I train agents to fill things out through the MLS, fill your paperwork out on the MLS if you have the option. Some boards don't have that luxury with their MLS, so they're stuck doing everything through .loop. Just be aware that sometimes those forms on .loop are not up to date. And sometimes, and I do appreciate it if you call me up and say, hey, I was on a training, I saw you used a new form, it looks like this is the old one. We can get it updated quicker. Those forms do get automatically updated, but they take time. However, any personal templates that you've created do not get updated. So that's one of the reasons why I did not create templates for our office, because then I'm responsible for updating those. And as you know, these forms are changing all the time. I think we've had 3 different changes on our listing agreement. The real estate purchase contract has changed. So this is the equivalent of saving forms onto your desktop, which I always train agents not to do, because we are required under law to use the most current forms. And especially if it's an old purchase contract, then that is a direct violation of one of the rules. Because we're using outdated documents, and there is liability associated with that as well, because it creates confusion and it just creates problems. So anyways, you can do this to make it easier on you creating your own templates. Just be aware if you do create a template like that, that you're responsible for maintaining those and keeping those forms updated. Okay, replacing the old ones with the most current ones. Okay, back to you, Jake. Sorry.
No, thank you. I was going to point that out too, but that's, yeah, the one downside. So honestly, it makes it a little cleaner because if you come to the buying forms, like you're not going to need all of these most of the time. Like this one, I've never had to use mobile home. I've never had to use buyer instruction packet. I don't use that. Um, Anyways, so you could clean it up a little by doing your own, but yeah, exactly. You run the risk of missing out every time there's a form update where anything you pull from like these parent folders are going to be the most up to date with maybe like a 48-hour lag if there's something brand new. So that's an option, but yeah, be aware of that. And then two simple things. It'll take like 30 seconds. So one, it really bugs me, and I don't know how other people feel about this, but when an agent sends me like an offer with everything rolled into one giant PDF, so it's got the REPC, all the addenda, their pre-qual letter, a bunch of random crap from their lender, just everything rolled into like one 40-page document, and it just says like property offer. So if they do that, you can bring it into dotloop, and then we've got this split document feature. So you can split it into as many chunks as you need. If I say 5, this will only let me do 6 because I only have 6 pages in this document, but you could really do as many as you need. And then I could say page 1 is offer, say executed REPC. This is addendum 1. This is pre-qual letter. This is lead-based paint. That's the seller property condition disclosure. So whatever it is, and then you can just say this document is page 1 to whatever. This is page 3. This is page 4 and 5. So whatever it is, this just helps split it and clean it up if you want to or need to. I've only had a couple times I actually need to do that where I only want to share like one specific item from that with another party and don't want to forward them on the whole pile of junk. A lot of the time I just use it to keep things clean. But that's a good option.
I'll interject a little bit. I think that's a great comment, Jake, that you brought up there. One of the things that I see often is, for example, I'm working with a buyer and, we want to make an offer on a home. And so I sent over my buyer agency agreement with it. Maybe isn't a great example because I should have met and done my buyer presentation and got it signed already, but maybe there's a few other disclosures that I need. So I've sent over my buyer agency agreement. I've sent over the offer paperwork. I sent over the due diligence checklist. Does the seller need to see the buyer's due diligence checklist or the wire fraud disclosure form? No, but maybe I sent it all over to my buyer out of convenience, out of just making sure I had all those disclosures done right away, whatever reason. But I've got a lot of stuff in there that I do not want to be sending over to the sellers when we make that offer. And so I can use that split form, even though I send them to my clients all as one. I can use that split document form before I forward it on to make sure that I'm only sending the stuff that should be sent and should be seen by somebody else. The stuff that could potentially be confidential, I make sure that that does not go out using that split document form.
But if you have messed with the document, then you can't split it, correct? Like if you've gone in and done initials and stuff.
If you've added any fields at all, so even a text box or a checkbox, if you've added anything to it, it doesn't let you split. So the way around that is you just download it as a PDF and then re-upload it. And then all the fields are kind of cemented in. So it's just a blank PDF with no custom dot loop things. And then you can go in and split it. But yeah, if you've added anything to it, it will not let you split it until it's a cemented PDF again.
Yeah. That makes sense? Okay, cool. Jake, thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording here shortly, but here's what I want the takeaway from this to be, is there's always something to learn. And one of the things that I love about meeting with you guys is we get the opportunity to share things with each other. Because all of you guys have different paths that you've taken. You've all learned different things in it. And I really appreciate how we come together as an office, are able to share different ideas, even when we're remote, and I can record something like this and put it onto our YouTube channel for lots of other people to watch. I appreciate all of you guys. Jake, thank you for taking some time with us today. Hopefully everybody learned something that makes their life just a little bit easier, and go out there and have a great week, you guys.